How do you lose weight successfully and keep it off? I'm Roberto, your host, and that's the question I'm answering in this, the Secrets of Weight Loss podcast. Thank you for joining me. Each episode, I'm answering that question by chatting with real people about what really worked for them, because losing weight can be a little bit overwhelming. There's so much information out there. There's celebrities all over the place trying to push books, apps, and diets. There's personal trainers everywhere. But how many of them have actually been fat, lost weight, and kept it off? By listening and subscribing to this podcast, you'll be giving yourself a head start in how to lose weight and keep it off by hearing from real people who have done exactly that. And if they can do it, so can you. This week I'm chatting with Becky. She's 23 and self-employed, running her own online accessory store. Her story is one that I think is true for many of us. You find a partner, you settle down, you get into a comfort zone of eating bad food and takeaways, things like that. And before you know it, you've piled on the pounds. When Becky was big, she didn't want to go out. She lost friends and only ever ordered clothes online because she couldn't bear the thought of trying things on in store. I'll let her tell you more about that, along with what eventually worked for her. The views expressed by Becky are from her own personal experience and are not those of the Secrets of Weight Loss podcast or myself. On the website, thesecretsofweightloss.com, you'll be able to read a transcribed version of this episode, along with links to apps and items mentioned by Becky. So, without further ado, let's meet Becky. The Secrets of Weight Loss. So, Becky, let's start with the figures. What did you weigh at your heaviest?
At my highest, I was 202 pounds, and I'm now 136 pounds.
Do you know that in stones? I'm rubbish at pounds.
I think it was 14 stone 7, and I'm not sure now. I think it's like 9 stone 10, 11, something like that.
That is impressive. Like a 5 stone weight loss then.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Well done.
It's been mad. Thank you so much.
What does it feel like now you've lost all this weight?
Honestly, the weight's lifted off my shoulders, like
quite literally.
That's the best I can describe it. Yeah, like in myself, like it's so much easier for me to go out and do things. And being a 23-year-old girl, I'm like, yeah, I want to dress nice, look nice, take lots of pictures. Whereas before, with the weight loss, I'd be like, don't get me in a picture, don't do anything. I don't want to go anywhere. I want to sit in my bedroom all day.
And now you're just like, right, let's get out there. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, apart with COVID, it's restricted.
Yeah, that doesn't really happen, the fun bit, does it, at the moment?
No.
You mentioned dresses in there and stuff. Do you know what dress size you were and what you are now?
Yeah, so I was a size 16 at my biggest, and then now I'm a 10. There's some things I can squeeze into an 8, but a comfortable 10.
How did you feel when you went shopping when you were a size 16?
I didn't. I'd do it all online so that I could have it, in the privacy of my own home. If it didn't fit, I could send the whole thing back. But I wouldn't go into shops and try things on. It was just impossible.
And now you're quite happy going around shopping and...
Yeah, I hardly try anything on anymore. I actually had something come up on my memories on Facebook, and it was me a year ago, and I went shopping and I tried some jeans on, and they were a size small from H&M, and I was like, oh my God, I fit into them.
It's a great feeling.
As if I actually fit. It is. It really is.
So how long did it take you to lose all this weight in total then?
So I've been maintaining for a few months now, but probably about 13 months to get to the point I am now. And then for the past 4 months, I've been maintaining my weight and not wanting to lose any more because I'm comfortable with where I'm at.
So you lost 5 stone basically in a year?
Yeah, because the diet that I chose was basically low carb. So it contributed a lot to me losing that weight so quickly.
We'll chat more obviously about how you lost the weight in a bit, but for now, tell me, how did you get big to start with? Have you always been big since you were a kid?
No, I was really slender as a kid. It was basically when I met my husband, who was obviously then my boyfriend, we would have 3 takeaways a week. We'd sit in and binge, and
that comfort thing, like, yeah, just chilling out together. That's another takeaway. Can't bother to cook.
Honestly, yeah. And then because we both worked full time, I would just be like, yeah, I can't be bothered. Let's literally just order all the time.
So did he get big as well? Did he pile on the pounds?
No, because he's really sporty. Yeah, I know. Just me that was getting bigger. No, he's a really sporty person. So, he was going football and cricket and all these things, and then there's me like vegging out at home with my pizza to myself.
Do you remember what it felt like as you were getting bigger and piling on the pounds? Because you must have noticed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, how did it feel, and why didn't you do anything about it at the time?
I don't know why I didn't do anything about it, to be honest. I did try a couple of diets, but nothing seriously. But it felt awful. Like I just, I didn't want to do anything. Like I said before, I just wanted to stay at home all the time. I didn't have the energy to be like, let's go and do this. I kind of lost some friendships in the midst of things because I was staying at home all the time and I wasn't making an effort to go out and do things.
And I suppose that was down to the fact that you were getting bigger and you were more embarrassed about going out. You didn't want people to see you the size you were.
There'd be so many times just before I got to a stage where I was uncomfortable, where we'd, if I'd go out for a meal with my friends and we'd take a photo and I'd be like, oh God, I'm the massive one.
Oh, you'd be the one trying to hide in the back so that people couldn't see you kind of thing sometimes.
Yeah. And it's not, it's not a nice feeling, is it? If you're everyone around you is so slender and then you're self-conscious and they're like, no, you look great. And you're like, yeah, lying though.
Yeah, they're lying, but they're just trying to make you feel good.
Yeah.
Did your partner ever say anything to you about your weight, or was he just like, I love you no matter what?
Yeah, literally. He's always been kind and supportive, etc. And then it's only now when I show him my transformation photos, he was like, I never remember you looking like that though. So yeah, he's been great throughout everything, even when I was big to now.
Oh, bless him. So what did you eat then in a day, or what would your normal day be for you before you lost weight?
Well, when when I was able to get up and go to work, I had the worst eating habits. So it would be, I'd be on a morning shift and I'd start at 10 o'clock. So I would go into town, grab a Starbucks and have a pumpkin spice latte and some fruit toast or something.
Loads of sugar in those syrups and stuff.
Yeah. And then I would go to work and then I'd have like a 20-minute morning break where I would have breakfast then. So I'd have like a pre-breakfast and then breakfast. And then I'd have my lunch like late afternoon, which would usually be something, processed meat and chips. And then I'd go home and have dinner, which would usually be something frozen that I'd stick in the oven, take 20 minutes and be done. And then I'd probably have a pudding, cake, donuts, fill my boots up with the sugar. It wasn't great. I actually used to, I say this to my friends all the time and take the mickey out myself. I used to have pasta sachets in a sandwich. Like, it was crazy. I can't believe I used to eat these sort of things.
But you don't know about it at the time, do you? Because I dare say, like a lot of people I've spoken to, you've educated yourself about food now as well, haven't you? Yes. Since you've lost weight. And at the time when you're doing those things that are making you fat, you don't realise how bad they are for you. Like the Starbucks drink, the amount of sugar that's in the syrup and stuff like that. You don't know.
I know. It's so mad. And do you know what? No one says anything while you're eating this sort of junk. It's only when you start eating healthy do you get criticism about what you're eating.
It's so true. Like, why are you always eating that salad? Why don't you have any cake or anything naughty? I do. I just don't have it all the time. I say salads there. You probably don't have that much salad though, because the way you lost weight doesn't involve salad. Like a lot of people think a diet has to.
I do eat a lot of salads, but yeah, it is. It's a lot broader. It's a lot different to a normal diet from what other people have.
We'll get onto the food in a bit that you eat now. Yeah. What diets did you try then? Because obviously you must have got to a point where you thought, right, okay, I don't want to be fat anymore. I want to try losing weight. What diets did you try that didn't work?
So I tried a lot of, the planned diets, Weight Watchers, Slimming Worlds, like calorie-counting diets. But I class myself as a massive foodie, so restricting my calories.
Not gonna be good if you're a massive foodie, is it? Counting those calories.
No, it's really not. So I was like, oh, do you know what? This just doesn't work for me. I feel so hungry. I don't feel like I'm eating enough. My meals are tiny. They're smaller now than what they used to be, but they just weren't working for me. I actually, before I started the diet I'm on now, the January before is when I started dieting properly, and I literally maybe lost 2 pounds in a couple of months. Like, I wasn't losing any weight. And I was like, I know I have weight to lose, but I just couldn't do it because I couldn't stick to the plan for long enough to for it to work, really.
And that gets depressing on its own, doesn't it? That gets you down when you're doing everything you can, buy the books, try and lose weight, and there's just no results coming.
Yeah.
Did you do any exercise at the time?
No, I didn't. To be fair, the only exercise I do now is walking, because I just can't go to the gym. Like I don't know, it just drains me.
What is it about the gym you don't like? Is it the monotony of it, or what?
I think it's more just going alone. If you had somebody to go to, or if I used to go to the classes, that would be fine. Bringing myself to go to there alone and have the motivation to actually do things, it's just not feasible for me. The classes are the only things that I'd be able to do and enjoy doing rather than anything else.
So let's get into what worked for you then, because it sounds amazing. You don't count calories, you don't go to the gym, but you still lost weight and look great. So what is it you've been doing?
So it's a low carb diet. So I did still count calories, but it wasn't like a low calorie diet that I was doing before. So I wasn't strict with it. Anywhere between 1,200 to 1,500 calories a day, which gave me, that 300 calorie leeway was perfect for me. And then, low carb. So I cut out bread, pasta, rice, all of that. I cut it out. I eat substitutes now, so...
What kind... Okay, so how did you feel when you cut out bread and pasta? I love bread and I love pasta in general, and I think a lot of people agree.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, how did you cut that out?
Yeah.
How did you feel when you cut that out, and what have you substituted it with?
So the first week when I cut it out, I was like, oh, I just want a sandwich. It's so easy to make. It's so quick. But after that, you get past a point where you're like, I just don't fancy it anymore. I'd rather have some snacks instead rather than do myself a big sandwich. The substitutes, I can find a lot online that I order for bread, and there's a low carb pasta that I order as well, which is really nice. But when I started, I would substitute the bread. So say if I was doing a wrap, I grill like Edam slices to make them like crispy, and then use that as a wrap, so it's like a cheese wrap instead.
Oh.
Or if it's pasta, I'd do spiralized veg instead, so it'd be healthier than using the pasta. And I've just gotten so used to cooking like that now that having even the low carb substitutes, I'm like, oh, this is a treat.
Oh, it's great that you look at it like that. So you're basically doing the keto diet then?
Yes.
That would be, and there's different forms of the keto diet. I know that.
Yeah.
So you have a low carb. Do you have high protein? Is that what you're trying to stick to?
I don't tend to track my protein. There's a lot of people that do. There's a lot of keto calculators where it will come up because of your age, height, etc., how much protein and fat you should have, which a lot of people stick to.
So for anyone that doesn't know, the keto diet is when you basically have low carb and high protein, and you train your body to, you train your body to run off the protein and burn fat, don't you, rather than running off carbs, which a body would normally do.
Yeah, so your body usually would burn carbs for energy, but on keto, because you're only having 20 grams a day carb maximum, so you would your body would burn fat and then stored fat for energy instead of the carbohydrates. So now I'm maintaining. I don't track it at all, because even if I go over my carbs, I'm not gaining the weight. My body's using it as energy instead, but still eating that sort of food.
I get it. So in the beginning then, you said you craved bread and things like that. How easy was it to stick to this? And why did this one work compared to anything else?
It was kind of easy for me to stick to because I had a clear goal I wanted to get to. So I was actually getting married. When I started, I was getting married 2 months after that. So I only had 2 months, and I was like, I just want to lose a little bit of weight so I, look a little bit better in my dress. I wasn't planning on losing as much as I had. So that's why it was probably easier for me to stick to. But I think if you do set yourself a clear goal, and instead of just being like, oh, I just want to lose some weight, I just want to look better. If you set yourself a goal, like I want to lose this many pounds in this time, it's easier to stay on course. How I got used to it was checking Pinterest for low carb substitutes of the food that I liked. So, I love a good classic bangers and mash. So I get some gluten-free sausages instead, which are a lot lower in carbs, and then cook up some cauliflower mash, add my gravy, Perfect.
Oh, well, I didn't know that about gluten-free stuff. That's lower carb normally, is it?
Yeah, so you'll have like in a normal sausage, they'll put grain and flour and things like that in it. Whereas in a gluten-free sausage, they tend to be a lot lower. Same with burgers. So I like Lidl is my go-to for gluten-free sausages and burgers. It's incredible food there. So yeah, there's loads of stuff that you can like look in the shops, and if just checking the labels on a couple of extra things really helps with low carb.
Did you use an app at the time when you started out then to help you get into it?
Yeah, I use an app called Carb Manager. So you can literally put in the brand and what you're having, and it will come up with how many carbs it is per serving or whatever. So I would plan my day via the app. So if I knew like, oh, okay, I've got 5 grams left over, so if I wanted to have a snack, I could, or blah, 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 blah. I did that for maybe the first couple months. And then after my wedding was a bit more when I was lenient with my diet.
You mentioned going shopping there and putting the brand in and it coming up with everything. What happens if you go out for a meal? Does it work then as well?
Yeah, I actually love going to Miller & Carter all the time. So, but even if I put into the app and say like Miller & Carter burger, no bun, it will come up on there and it will tell me the carb content in that.
So the weight started to drop off and you were feeling great and you carried on sticking with the keto diet.
Yes.
How do you maintain it on the keto diet? Is it something easy to do? Or are you tempted to come off of it? Or
no, I haven't been tempted to come off, purely because whenever I do have, if I'm like, oh, I'll just be naughty, and then I'll just feel so sluggish and bloated and I don't want to do anything the day after. Whereas when I'm on keto, I feel like I have the energy to get up and do things. Like I want to be productive. I don't just want to sit in bed and be sluggish.
I've read about the keto diet previously, and I've heard people have bad side effects on the keto diet.
Yeah.
Have you experienced any of those, like nausea? You just mentioned lack of energy, but that was when you'd eaten normal food, for example. Did you experience lack of energy or headaches or anything like that whilst doing the keto diet, or has your body now got so used to it that it is what it is, and you don't have those effects?
I don't have those effects anymore. I haven't in a while. It's just it is really whenever I cheat on the diet and then go back into it is when I get symptoms again. I never really have the nausea or anything, but headaches around the day I'll start the diet again. So say like after I've been on holiday, if I come back, start low carb again, and then that evening I'll have a headache, but then I'll wake up the next day and I'll feel fine and I'll be back onto keto. But I might feel a bit sluggish for a couple of days while I'm withdrawing from my binge on holiday.
It's a holiday. Everyone does it, don't they? Do you think you'll stick with keto then? Have you found something that works for you? Is this going to be your thing from now on?
I think that for now it's working fine. I don't know why I'd stray from it. Like I said, I've maintained for the past 4 months without having to, when you're on a diet and you are tracking everything, I don't feel like I do that anymore. I just feel like it's just a way of eating. So yeah, it's really worked for me. And I know a lot of people who I have on social media who have done this as well for over a couple of years, and they're still sticking to it and they're absolutely fine. Last time I went to the doctors and stuff, they were like, oh, you're the healthiest you've ever been. And I'm like, thank you. Even though I get a lot of criticism with my food.
Your food looks amazing though. On your Instagram, the food you eat, I'm tempted to try the keto diet because it looks so delicious. You've got like, what was one you did the other day? It's, you can't go to German market. So you've done some sausages with all the onions on top and stuff like that. It looks proper mouth-watering.
Honestly, the food is so nice. Like, I don't feel like I miss eating normal foods because there's just little tweaks you can make to your meals to make them low carb, and it's just so nice. Like, I really wanted a Chinese the other day. It used to be my favourite takeaway before I started this diet, and my husband was like, no, you can't have that. Why don't you just make one at home? And I was like, okay. So I made one and I was like, God, you know what? That was so nice. Like satay chicken, and it was cauliflower rice instead of normal rice, but I like egg fried it and things. Oh, it was so good. And I was like, do you know what? I'm not even sure why I wanted to go to the takeaway. This was so much nicer.
I always get that craving for a takeaway, but then feel guilty afterwards for eating it and think, oh, I didn't really need that. I could have made something here and it would have been better for me. We ran through earlier on what you ate previously. Yeah. So what do you eat now in a day?
Meal-wise, it changes all the time because I like to branch out. Like I said, I'm a bit of a foodie, but it tends to be I'll wake up in the morning, I'll have a coffee first thing, no pumpkin spice, no syrup this time, unless it's sugar free. And then maybe around 11 o'clock, depending on how hungry I am, I'll have maybe a bowl of granola, just nuts, not oats. So there's a lot of keto brands that I can have.
So lots of protein in the nuts, obviously.
Yeah. And then come lunchtime, it varies so much, because sometimes I'll be like, I just want a snack, so I'll have like just meat and cheese or whatever. And then I know what you mentioned about salads earlier. I do have a lot of salads. It tends to be like burger, no bun, side salad. I'll bread some chicken strips with almond crumb instead of actual breadcrumbs, and I'll have that with the salad. The spiralized pasta, anything like that. I have, on really strict keto, people don't have root veg at all, but I do eat some swede and celeriac as well, because they're quite low in carbs and they're great potato substitutes. And then I'll pick a protein. Usually I'm adding cheese on everything, so I'll add some cheese.
See, it sounds like my ideal diet. I love cheese as well. Imagine that, cheese on everything.
I know.
Sounds great. We mentioned exercise earlier on. You don't go to the gym, you just walk. Do you walk excessive amounts to get in a quota of exercise every day or not? Or do you just like walking places?
I do just like walking places. When I was purposely losing weight, I was walking a lot more than what I do now, but I did 10k steps every other day. Luckily for me, I've got a marsh like 5 minutes from my house, so it's beautiful to walk around. But usually now I'll do like 5k every day, so it's kind of works out the same. I'm walking each day. It gets difficult when it's a lot colder outside like it is now,
but that's great though. 5k a day walking, that's a good chunk of exercise. So you do actually do some exercise.
Yeah,
it's not just all the food. I was going to say, this is a miracle. Let's all get on the keto. What is your one guilty pleasure? What is there one thing that you go like, I just cannot give that up? I don't care what this keto diet is saying. I must have that in my life. Or is there not anything like that? Are you that much into keto that you're like, no?
I don't know anything that I'm like, I can't make keto that I cheat on.
What about chocolate? Do you have chocolate?
I do, but I can have
ice
keto
cream?
chocolate, but I can have low carb ice cream as well.
There's keto chocolate. What does it taste like?
It's so nice. So if you like dark chocolate, there's loads of varieties that you can have. But I've just had I have like a monthly box that comes to me full of keto goodies. And in there was a milk chocolate caramel bar, which came from Belgium, and it was so nice. And it was like 4 gram carbs or something for the bar. And I was like, oh my God, how is this keto? It's crazy.
I didn't know keto was such a big thing that you could get keto boxes and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really, really big in America at the minute. So you can go into like their Walmart and Target, and they've got like keto sections specifically. It's branching out a little bit more over here in the UK. Hopefully in a couple of years, there'll be a lot more variety. But yeah, there's loads of great places. So yeah, I have a box that comes, which is £30 a month, but it's full of like 10 plus items. There's like last month I had coffee in there. I've had like some pancake mix, which is keto.
When you say keto coffee, what's wrong with normal coffee?
No, there's nothing wrong, but like flavored coffees.
So your one secret to weight loss would be the keto diet? It's
been the only one to work for me. I know obviously there's a lot of people who wouldn't be able to stick to it because of the substitutes they don't like very much. But I would recommend anyone to try it. At least if you try it for a couple of weeks, if you can't stick to it and it's not for you, then obviously you can move on and try something else. But there's no harm in trying for a couple of weeks and being like, oh, do you know what? I've lost a couple of pounds. I'll carry it on a bit more and see how it.
And your weight loss is incredible. I can't believe it. 5 stone in 12 months? It's just absolutely. Do you mind me asking a really personal question? Do you have any kind of loose skin or anything, or are you lucky in the fact that you're that young? Your skin has just kind of bounced back.
No, I do have loose skin. So under my arms and around my stomach, I have loose skin there. I think if I did exercise properly and I worked out, that it would probably tighten. But yeah, I do have that. I take some collagen powder a couple of times a week to help with skin
I know the word you're trying to say. Elasticity. That's the word. Yeah, I know the word you mean.
Elasticity, yes. Yeah, to help as well. But I'm not conscious of it. Like even when I've been able to get away on holiday, you know, I feel more confident wearing a bikini instead of a one piece now, even with my loose skin on my stomach, because feeling better in your own skin, even if you've got flaws, I don't mind showing them now. Whereas before I'd be like, no, I want a t-shirt and trousers on as well.
And it's got to be super baggy and I don't want anyone looking at me and et cetera, et cetera. Okay, one last thing, and this could be the keto diet or it could be anything else. What would be your one piece of advice for someone who wants to lose weight? Is it, as you said earlier on, to have a goal, or is it the keto diet, or what? What's your one piece of advice?
No, I wouldn't tell everyone to do this diet, only if you think it would work for you. My best advice that I tell anyone that comes to me saying, have you got any advice for newbies, is to set yourself a clear goal. If you don't have that, it's so much harder. You don't know what direction you're going with. I mean, it might be weight. It could be, I want to get down to this clothing size. I want to be able to fit back into these old jeans. If you've got that goal, you have something to work towards. If you just think, oh, I don't like the way I look, I want to lose weight, and then you start, it's so much easier to fall off the wagon because you're not working towards something.
You end up just drifting, don't you? And not, as you say, not focusing on one thing, getting into those jeans, or as yours was, losing weight for the wedding, so you look amazing.
Yeah.
And you achieved that.
Thank you. I mean, I look back at my wedding photos now and I think, oh my God, I look so big there. I wish I would have started beforehand, but you know, I had already lost like a stone by that point. So
and you've gone on to lose 5 stone, which is just incredible. Becky, thank you so much for your time today and for sharing your weight loss story.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been nice to talk about it openly because I don't really get the chance.
It's been an absolute pleasure. If you've got any questions about the keto diet or how Becky lost her weight, you can get in touch with her on Instagram. It's Becca's Keto Diary. I'll put a link to that on our website, thesecretsofweightloss.com, along with other links that Becky mentioned, or you can find it on my Instagram, Roberto Presents. Make sure you hit subscribe and join us next week because I've got another amazing weight loss story for you, this time from a lady who did something very drastic. And all I'm going to say is, this won't be for everyone. The Secrets of Weight Loss. Find out more at thesecretsofweightloss.com.